All right, guys, welcome to the Talkin' Shed podcast, and today we've got a pretty special one. For those of you that tune in to the weekly email blast, you may know that we had some news come out this morning. We're now going to be carrying the Deutz tractor line. It's been something we've kicked around for a long time. Andrew has beat us down for a long time. We finally gave in, and so we've got a podcast here with Mike Less and Andrew Winkels from Deutz PFG America. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yep.
So let's just talk about where PFG starts, what PFG is, and then we'll dive into Deutz as a company.
Yeah, absolutely. PFG America is definitely a unique business as far as equipment businesses in America go. PFG is actually the world's largest independent tractor distributor, and we have 20 dealerships in New Zealand as well as a wholesale business in New Zealand. And we have a wholesale business in Australia with 300 independent dealers there. And in America, we are Deutz face, so it's a partnership between Deutz and PFG America. But PFG is a substantial size company. They're the largest sales organization for several manufacturers that people would be familiar with. But first and foremost, our core product at PFG globally is Deutz in every single country.
I see.
So we opened up in America in late 2017. We took over the entire American market, buying at an Eastern distributor that was based in Ohio and a Western distributor based in California, and built a 60,000 square foot facility in Georgia to serve the U.S. market. And here, about 5 years later, we've doubled in size to 110,000 square feet.
So let's back up even further than that. How did you get your start with Deutz, and what's your background, Andrew? I know you're from Georgia. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So from Georgia by way of Canada. So I grew up in the equipment business. My parents own a farm equipment dealership in Ontario. Actually, similar to you, I grew up with the Salford brand, obviously manufactured there in Ontario. And when I graduated school, I moved out west and worked for Versatile for about a decade. It's where I met Mike as well and worked with him. And during that time, I covered Australia for Versatile, because PFG is an Australian Versatile distributor as well for New Zealand.
Sure.
And when this opportunity came up, them moving into America with the Deutz product, which I've always been passionate about and have known pretty well for at least 20 years, it was an opportunity that I really wanted to jump at and chase after.
So you are to blame for all this smoke in the air from Canada.
That is correct, yes.
That's what I gathered from his introduction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It took me 3 days to get to Maine at the start of this week. So,
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, cool. Yeah, it's interesting, growing up, you always see Deutz tractors around and hear a lot about them and this and that. But it's really cool to jump on board. It was a decision for us that, change is hard, and you always wonder how it is going to change what what you're used to, what you're comfortable with. But being comfortable isn't good either. Change is inevitable, and you have to be diversified. And I think, for us, I think it was a decision that goes back to the integrity that we feel with the company. I've said it before, and I think if we had an opportunity to sell, whatever it was, whether it was porta potties or cars or tow trucks, if the company that you're representing has the integrity, has the support, parts, knowledge, and people, you'll be successful. Mm-hmm. Really, no matter what it is. Yeah. And so that's where my confidence level grew with PFG. I feel like they're built similar to the Salford group that we know. Yeah. They've got the right people, the support, and that's huge for us, because we have carried lines and still do carry a couple that don't offer the greatest support, and that's just no fun. It doesn't even matter if their product is superior. At the end of the day, it's not, because everyone's going to have their failures.
Yeah.
You know, every company we've ever represented has broke something, or a ship date that didn't get met, and how they handle it is what sets them apart, and is what is going to make for a long-term relationship. So
yeah, and for me, that's actually very much what attracted me to PFG America, because when I would be down under with dealers in Australia, you know, talking about different things with product or changes they want, the one thing that was constantly reinforced to me was how happy those dealers were doing business with PFG. And my family's actually in the dealership business as well, and with that, having an understanding of the importance of a dealer, and a manufacturer who recognizes the importance of a dealer and recognizes, you know, high value dealers, was a lot of what attracted me to go work for PFG and ultimately Deutz Fahr.
Sure. Mike, over to you. Farmhand Mike is how I know you. Okay. Many listeners have probably seen YouTube videos of you, I'm sure.
Yes.
If they haven't, they live under a rock.
Yes, good chance if you've watched anything agriculture related on YouTube or on Instagram, you've come across one of my videos.
Sure. So let's talk about how you got into PFG America, your background a little bit.
Sure.
And maybe scoot up to the mic just a little bit more. But
yeah, will do. So I'll just go back, give you the abbreviated version. But I grew up in Northeast Ohio, so I lived in Ohio my entire life. And I grew up on a farm that we had 25 acres of apple orchard. We had 3 laying houses. Grew a little over 100 acres of sweet corn, pumpkins, and a few peach trees in there. And then we did, of course, your corn and soybeans, that kind of stuff. And I always wanted to be a dairy farmer. That was my goal in life. And I went to school for agricultural mechanics and ended up working for the local farm equipment dealer in Columbiana, Ohio, back in the day. It was a white tractor dealer, sold Gale, Great Plains, Krause. So I started setting up equipment there and really, really liked it. Really liked setting up equipment and stuff. And I was making, probably topped out on all the money I was ever going to make there, and I had bigger dreams. So I was looking around for a different job and ended up going to work for Gale Company as a service rep back in 1995. And Gale said I had to move to Western Ohio. So now I just live south of you guys, about 40 minutes down by Arcanum, Ohio. Moved out here, could not help out on the family farm anymore on the weekends and stuff, so I started helping a local farm, or a couple different ones actually, when I first moved out here to now. And when I got into the social media world, that's kind of where the name, I wasn't a farmer, so I went by Farmhand Mike, that kind of stuck. Well, anyways, I worked for Gale for 1995 to 2009. Gale had quit making agriculture implements and just pretty much went construction, skid loaders, telehandlers. I didn't enjoy it anymore. I'm a farm equipment person. I did not that the skid loaders aren't used on the farm, but I wasn't involved in farm equipment as much. And then Versatile was looking for a service rep in the United States, and that really got me excited. Big tractors, so that was definitely exciting. And went to work for them, and I met Andrew actually out in Iowa at an event we were having. And long story short, Andrew and I started talking, and he said he was from Ontario, Canada. And I said, where at? He goes, you never heard of the town I'm from? And I said, try me. And he told me, and I said, oh yeah, I used to go to a dealer up there when I worked for Gale called J&H Equipment. He goes, that's my parents' dealership. Of course, he was probably a little kid when I went there, but I probably had met him, just didn't realize it. So it's a small world. And I worked for Versatile. Of course, one of the owners of PFG, I met at a Versatile meeting, since PFG carries Versatile in Australia. And then Andrew had been talking to me for a while about coming to work over here. And then Craig, one of the owners, called me and said, just fly down to Atlanta, see our facility, and if you tell us no hard feelings. And I went down there a year ago, and next thing I know,
sure,
I'm working for him.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's been a good experience. It's a change, because I do get a lot of questions from people. People know me as the Versatile guy. They say, who makes a better tractor, Versatile or Deutz? And I say, you can't really compare them, because Versatile's making big 4-wheel drive tractors. Deutz are a pretty high-tech specialty tractor. We're different customer base. and stuff like that. So, but it's been a lot of fun, and I think I made the right choice.
Awesome. Well, I think I think obviously it's going to be a great asset to us, being that you're so close and so knowledgeable about not only the Deutz line but several other lines. So that's pretty interesting. He's pretty relentless. He probably just called you every other day and just nag, come down.
Not too bad. I know a year before at the National Farm Machinery Show, they come over to talk to me, and I had to go to a meeting, and I left a day early, and I kind of avoided them there because
Sure.
I didn't know what to do, and we've been friends for a while.
He knows me well enough, so he avoided me. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you just got to see how much want to they got in them.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of just,
Yeah.
drag them along. And if they're still there, it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. So, because I was sure I was going to work. I was sure I was just going to stay at Versatile the rest of my life. I mean, I enjoyed what I did there, and I really like the big 4-wheel drive tractors, no doubt. But this is cool because with Deutz, we're more into the hay and forage livestock guys versus the big broadacre guys. So I'm kind of getting back in. I'm at a lot of livestock farms and stuff now, which I enjoy. I enjoy all aspects of farming, and with Deutz, we got these specialty tractors, orchard, vineyard stuff too, and that's something I've never been around in my life, so that's pretty interesting. So for my YouTube side of it, working for this company opens up a whole a bunch of different avenues as well. So, a lot of different things.
On the Versatile side, are they owned by Bueller?
Yeah, Bueller Industries, I guess, would be the trade name.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to carry the Farm King line.
Yes.
And I don't think they do the Farm King application line anymore. But
no.
Yep, we used to. That was the only
affiliation
I ever really had with Versatile.
Same company, just a different division.
Sure. Yep. Sure. Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, it'll be nice too, because we're pretty green, I guess you could say, on the Deutz side of things. When it comes to I can't wait to get a few tractors in here just to get our hands on them, just to start to learn them and get familiar and be able to create some videos how to and figure out the hydraulic specs and engine specs and what tractor can do what. I'm pretty excited to do all that. Andrew was describing all the tractors to me, and I told him he was talking Spanish to me. The G and the R and the L series, and so we'll get acquainted with that for sure.
Well, I've been working for this company for a year, and pretty much a product specialist on the larger tractors, 6-cylinder tractors, and I'm learning something new every day because there's 2 or 3 different ways to operate about every function. They're a very, very fuel efficient tractor, but there's so many ways you can, if you want to run it this way or run it that way, or another guy jumps in the tractor and he wants to run it different. There's just, for example, like the hydraulics, like if you want to run this implement on remote 1 and 2 and he jumps in it, wants to run on 3 and 4, you don't have to get out and switch the hoses. You can actually just go in the monitor and change it inside the cab. So just a lot of stuff like that. There might be a lot of stuff in there the average guy never uses, but people like technology and the ability to do different things, and these tractors definitely allow you to do that. So
good. Andrew, let's jump into a little bit about the Deutz itself. Let's talk about maybe what Deutz specializes in. Of course, there's a variety, just like anything. There's a variety of options. Where do you feel Deutz hits the home run to be a tractor, that is needed across the country, and especially right here where we're at in Western Ohio?
Yeah, there's a couple places, and Mike touched on a couple of them that we would have as strengths, and then some common themes that run through the whole line. The Italian portion of our business is big into the specialty tractors. Our factory in Italy's, we consider ourselves the specialty tractor specialist, and so that's a very large market, anywhere orchards, vineyards, fruit and nuts, that kind of stuff. And then, as Mike had touched on as well, was really a hay and forage, speed hauling type of product. You're going to have higher lift capacities on a Deutz, carrying implements. All of your Deutz large 6 cylinders, you're going to have a front hitch and PTO on. Triple mowing, stuff like that. Lots of lots of different applications, and that front hitch and PTO is becoming more and more of a common thing across all brands, but you're going to see it on 80-90% of the larger Deutz tractors, and that adds a range of flexibility to the product as well. But I think a couple of the things we do very well: product quality and reliability first and foremost. Our German manufacturing facility is second to none in the world. It was finished in 2017, and absolute state-of-the-art facility. Looking forward to getting you guys over there to see that with your own eyes as well. So the manufacturing is first rate. The componentry is first rate. But I think one thing Deutz has always been known for, one of the questions we get the most, which I'm sure some people listening to the podcast are thinking, is that Deutz still air-cooled? And the answer is no, it's not. Air-cooled engines came out for emissions reasons in the early 2000s off-highway. I think Porsche took theirs out in 1999 on-highway, and sometime in the early 2000s, 2002, 2003, everything got a radiator in it
Sure.
on that end. But the common theme with the Deutz engine today, that was the same then, is the reliability and efficiency of the engine.
I see.
Deutz engines as a global leader in diesel engine technology, have been for well over 100 years. Fantastic history in that company, and we are unapologetic about our German quality and efficiency, and the fuel efficiency, I think, is the thing that surprises most customers, especially some who are running brands that they think this is the most efficient tractor, and that's what it's known for in the market. And when they get into a Deutz, there's another level of efficiency and mechanical simplicity that brings that fuel efficiency to another level. Sure.
Yeah. From what I've gathered is that the Deutz tractor is kind of specifically made to do a lot of handy work. There's some tractors that are kind of designed with a rear drawbar, and then from there they just have to look pretty. And then there's ones that look pretty dang good, but can also get out there and perform some tasks that a lot of tractors don't. And I think Deutz fits that mold, of just being a handy Swiss Army knife workhorse on your farm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's not many traditional agriculture applications that we don't perform in, but as far as niche opportunities and the ability to do things that maybe you're not doing with your current tractor, or to get some 2-in-1 value out of a single machine, Deutz definitely has a reputation for being able to deliver a Swiss Army knife, like you say.
And so what is the smallest tractor available and the largest that's common anyways in the US?
So our range today runs from 75 horsepower up to 340 horsepower, 336 horsepower.
Okay.
We used to have a tractor in that 65 horsepower range, and we'll see that again here before the end of the year.
Okay.
The Fennig guys that were down for our dealer meeting were able to see a preview of that tractor already. So that's really our core market is agriculture products. We're, like Mike said, not into the big articulated stuff, and we're not a compact tractor company. We're not into that business. We're really focused in the heart of the American ag market between 65 and 340 horsepower.
Sure. And as guys are buying tractors and come to demo and like the Deutz, of course the common questions arise. Where are they manufactured, and what's parts availability like?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our manufacturing for the tractors is in Europe. Two primary factories is the German factory, which is our largest factory. The German factory, as I'd mentioned, got finished in 2017. And it was built across the road from a factory that used to actually build harvesters in Bavaria. And so when they built the new German factory, they converted the old factory into the parts depot for the entire world. So no matter whether your tractor's coming out of an Italian factory or German factory, all your parts are coming out of out of that German area across the road from the main factory. And then we've also got our factory in Italy, which builds a lot of our utility products. But again, specifically the specialty tractors would be probably the thing that factory is best known for. And as far as parts support on this side of the pond, as I mentioned, our headquarters is based in Georgia. We're about an hour up from the airport in Atlanta. And we stock about $8 million in parts in that facility. We get 2 air freights a week, a container a month. And a big part of our need to expand the facility, one, a lot of sales success in the last 5 years. So we've got a larger machine population, more dealers, the ability to assemble more tractors. But the most important thing is to really take our parts inventory to that next level, to not only maintain our strong fill rates today, but go to another level with that service wise. And to loop back to the PFG portion of that, always what excited me about working for them is their ability and vision to invest in things before they're beyond capacity. And if you come down to our facility there, as Mike can attest, we've purchased that new facility and have started to fit it out probably a little bit before we needed it, but we wanted to make sure we had the parts in place to support the network.
Sweet. Yeah. And I'm excited. We kind of hang our hat on parts and service a little bit too. We try to inventory a lot. You can maybe see that, not only in whole goods, but on parts. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to provide a comfort level to the farmer that they're taken care of, and that we've got their back. So yeah, that's good to know, because I know guys are always wanting to know, well, how would I ever get parts for this or that and all that. So, it's really no different than Salford. They've got a warehouse. Granted, they have one here in Ohio now, but for Deutz, we're going to kind of serve that purpose here in our inventory. And then from there, Salford's next one is Iowa and Georgia. So it's very similar in parts demand. And then if they don't have it there, we have to go to Ontario. So, everyone kind of has their home base, which is always the furthest location. Then they've got kind of satellite locations. So I don't see a problem. And I really like, I like the fact of, what we do a lot is if a guy's down and really needs something and we can't get his current product fixed, we just let him use a one that we have to get him rolling. You know what I mean? So, being able to have 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, I wasn't in the meeting, so I don't know how hard Andrew twisted arms, dozen tractors, I don't know what we got coming in here.
No,
but
it's about 9.
Okay, so to be able to have that many on hand, provides plenty of backup and support.
Definitely.
And it shows the customer that we're serious. It's easy to sign some paperwork and say that you're a dealer and signing it up, but to put up and order and get some parts going, that's where it really kind of comes to fruition. I'm pretty excited to see one of these things hooked to a Salford. Yeah, they're putting together a 22 or a 24 footer in the shop right now that I think would look really nice on. Did they order like a 300?
It's going to be a 7250.
Okay,
that's what we'll hook it up to.
Okay,
it'll be like 230 horse, 240 horse.
Cool. Well, we're having our field day July 13th for like us, and then we're having the Deutz on the 21st.
Yes, that's correct. So you've got the
Friday.
Yeah,
it's a Friday, right? The Friday after ours. So yeah, we'll be excited to hook some equipment up to those things. What do you guys do for what kind of attachments are common? Like, do you guys on like the 65 or 70, do they do much backhoe stuff or grapple buckets, or is it just a lot of more cropland or like hay and forage, I should say, mixers? And
we get the occasional call on that 65, 75 horse tractor to kind of have a backhoe type tractor, but really not where that's at. When you get into that tractor and say, there's a lot of Korean brands on the market making what I would describe as quality small tractors, A couple Japanese companies that do quite well in that business as well. And I think when you get to the Deutz at that horsepower, if you bring the homeowner in or the guy looking at the the backhoe or whatever else, a lot of times that guy's gonna gravitate towards that smaller, probably a little bit lighter tractor. Again, very good quality for what he's doing, but when you get a farmer coming in and saying, I need a yard tractor, a utility tractor, and he's looking at those two tractors side by side, he's going to go for the Deutz every time. And at that horsepower, we build the front axle, which has built-in brakes in it. We build the engine in-house, build the transmission, the cabs. So it's a through and through Deutz product that, I think really does appeal to a farming segment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, because I know, whenever you're talking, the 300 and some horse, obviously that thing's going to be likely pulling something. You get down into the 200s or 150s, it's probably going to have a loader bucket on it. For a lot of dairies and livestock, which we're very livestock rich in this region, as both of you know really well. But yeah, once you get down into that 60s and stuff, I could see some guys, maybe some landscapers or some, they own maybe 40 acres and want some attachments with it. I could see that being kind of common on that. Yeah,
it's certainly a market that we play well in. And the other element of it is Deutz is not as common of a name in the market as they at one time were. I mean, at one time they did build tractors in Coldwater. Yeah. And there's definitely a subsegment of guys who grew up on a Deutz and want that Deutz on their property, because that's the tractor they operated when they were young. And I always enjoy that. That's always a cool thing to see when somebody's coming back 20, 30 years later and buying a Deutz. Sometimes not even so much because they need one, but they really, really want one. They want that tractor that's on their property to be a Deutz, because that was grandpa's tractor or dad's tractor, and that's what they learned to drive on.
Yeah, or maybe a relative, or maybe one of their parents worked at the plant, maybe.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that'll be really interesting to of course, being from the area, you hear people all the time talk about the new idea factory and this and that, and it'll be interesting to talk to customers when we're out demoing tractors and hearing some stories that I'm sure they've got on older Deutz equipment. They used to make tillage tools, not? Or planters, or both.
Both.
So actually, I know somebody who just bought a piece of Deutz Alice tillage, and he's sitting next to us on the podcast. So
okay.
Mike can tell you what he learned about his Deutz Alice tillage. So.
Sure.
Yeah. So the last fall and this spring, PFG let me use a tractor on the farm that I help out on, and I wanted something that matched the tractor. So I was down at a dealer here in Ohio that had traded in or consignment. They had a 28-foot Deutz Alice field cultivator.
I see.
And I had no idea. I took a couple pictures of it, posted on my Instagram. I thought that'd be really cool. Well, then I got on Tractor House and was looking at Deutz Alice tillage equipment, and that was on there, and I saw the price, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to have that. So I haven't taken delivery of it yet, but I committed to it. But
nice.
So what I learned is we deal with a lot of dealers that sell Vermeer as well. So I was at a field day last week and I met the Vermeer rep there who's worked for Vermeer for 40 some years, so he knows everything. So Vermeer actually contract built Deutz Alice's tillage equipment back in that era. So Vermeer themselves never sold tillage equipment, because they're known for the hay equipment and stuff.
Sure.
But they actually, don't ask me how it works, but they contract built the tillage equipment for Deutz Alice. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So yeah, as far as tillage equipment, I found they had a disc chisel, and I know someone that had one of those back in the day and said that was a really good. They made a disc, a field cultivator, then they had a planter, and I don't know the whole story on the planter, because I've seen Landau used to have a planter that had looked like the same seed box and units and stuff, so I don't know the story there. But I was looking on Tractor House, and there's a couple of Deutz Alice planters there, so I'm not saying that one won't end up at my place.
I was going to say, I've seen a couple of them floating around online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of assumed that maybe New Idea or White or someone like that made it for them or something.
No, because the White... and I was working at a dealer that sold White, and New Idea, actually, if you want to get to it. But the New Idea planters actually had the Kinsey planter unit on it, if you look at those. And then, of course, White had their their own deal. But I think in the end, the white planters were built here in Coldwater as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're popular in this area, and I think a lot of it has to do for that reason.
Yeah.
So, Mike, what has been your experience with Deutz? Obviously, growing up and using a variety of tractors. You've dealt with probably customers now that own them, that have purchased them since you've been hired, that maybe have owned them for years. What's your experience with Deutz that you're finding?
It's been really good, and everybody, you hear stories at farm shows. Back to what Andrew said, the first question you get, people walk by and say, "Are those things still air cooled?"
Yeah,
and you say no, and it's almost like they're saying it like they're trying to set you up, like oh, but these are still air cooled and they're behind the time. You don't know. You're trying to react to these guys, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's too bad because man, I had one of those air cooled ones. Those things run forever. That thing had 16,000 hours on it when we, got rid of it or whatever. So they definitely have a good reputation. But there's like the new ones, even the smaller units that are kind of a basic unit. There's just so many like features on them that people don't know about that you show them and they're just impressed. Like on our small tractors, we have a stop and go feature. Like you push a button and then your brake pedal, you just use that. Like, so if you're round baling hay or whatever, you stop to wrap a bale, you don't have to clutch it. You don't have to put it in neutral. You just hit the brake, the tractor stops, you wrap your bale, you let off just like a car. Double displacement steering, we have that where you cut the revolutions of your steering wheel in half when you're doing loader work, working in tight places. Like there's just so many things that come on these tractors, and you start showing that to guys and they're just like, wow. Like, because when you get into this smaller tractor market, especially, it's pretty competitive. Everybody builds one. And,
sure.
And so a lot of these companies be competitive, they really got to, watch the tire size, everything they can to take some price out of it to compete. And that's one thing on our tractors. You're going to find we're always going to have a larger tire on for the size of the tractor, and just those couple, the stop and go, double displacement steering, stuff I talked about there. Just a lot of things like that come standard on the tractors that we bring over here.
Yeah, sounds like there's a lot of very well thought out details that no one has really even ever experienced. I mean, I've never even experienced the double displacement steering or stop and go features.
Yeah.
That's pretty unique. What kind of like on your, let's just call it from the 75 up to maybe the 200s, what kind of transmissions are common?
So at the 75 horse level, we're running a 15 by 15 transmission, high, medium, and low on that. We're building that ourselves in-house. When you step up into that next series, up the 5G, we're running a 3-speed power shift transmission that, again, we build that ourselves in our Italian factory. Next level up, when you go to the 6130, 6140, we're using a variant of that same power shift that we use in the 5G. And then we also have a CVT option that we house build ourselves and have been building for about 20 years. And that takes us up to the 150 horse tractors. And at that point, you're jumping into power shift and CVT options. What we call a TTV is our terminology for a continuously variable transmission. And when you're jumping up to that 155 and 165, you're getting a ZF German-built transmission, so either a 30 by 15 power shift or a CVT. And then just here this last year, and Mike's had some good experiences with customers who've been blown away by the improvements in efficiency on an already efficient tractor. We've brought out our own house-built CVT for the larger German tractors as well, purchasing a very reputable German hydrostatic variator and building our own rear end around that. And that compound TTV is incredibly smooth and is the mechanical efficiency in that transmission seems to be taking our fuel efficiency to another level. And so really from that 190 horsepower up, which you guys will have at both of your field days in July, up to the 340 horse unit, they're available in a TTV only. But it is an incredibly simple to operate CVT. It's not like some units you hop in and you have to do a half-day training to figure out what everything does. You could come out of just about any brand and have a pretty good understanding of how to operate a Deutz CVT. It's a very intuitive product.
Sure. That's awesome. So it sounds like there's plenty of options, and it sounds like it's kind of time-tested and pretty durable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we're excited. I think, I know the guys in the shop are excited. We've of course talked about it, and they're ready to take some stuff on, get some tractors ready, and we can't wait to get some in here and see what they're all about. Get some good training on them, and really be able to go out and show customers what the Deutz line is made of. Of course, everyone's got plenty of options, so we're just going to have to demo and show off the features, because I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that are probably in the same boat you and I are, that may not have seen one in a long time, and let alone had one on their farm. So
yeah, I mean, I think the last time that I've actually ever been on one was your dad's lawnmower. Yeah, and that was a long time
Dad
ago.
used to have a green Deutz lawnmower.
Yep.
There's still some of them floating around on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. I look for them. I found a Deutz Alice snowblower on there for $150.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, Dad's lawnmower mowed a lot of yard there at one time. But I think today you guys came up, met with some of the guys, put in some requests for different sizes of tractors, and hopefully we'll be seeing them early July, something like that, and we'll be able to kick it off with the road show. Why don't you talk about the road show a little bit and what that entails?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing an 11-stop tour across a good chunk of the U.S. this year, starting in North Dakota and at the very start of July, and ending in Texas at the end of August. But the Power and Precision Tour is really an opportunity for us to go out there with dealer partners, 10 of which who we've been established with, and the opportunity came up with you guys to do it at the same time, and we thought it'd be a great way to introduce the brand. And so the Power and Precision Tour is really about demonstrating the Deutz brand, allowing people to get in, operate, understand it. Mike will be at all the stops. I'll be at a lot of them. There'll be your service rep and your sales rep will be at every one. And so real opportunity for customers to get some factory experience and factory knowledge of the product. We're fortunate. We've got a couple of excellent suppliers in DLL, our finance company, and TopCon, our precision ag company, who are going to be coming along for that as well. So customers curious about TopCon Precision Solutions can get some stuff to learn and understand. And I think TopCon's also going to be bringing some of their Bobcat side-by-sides with their technology on it. We'll be bringing a 7250 ourselves, a 6155 with a loader on it, but that 6155 will also have electric steering wheel for guidance from TopCon on it, so customers can try that out. The larger tractors will all have the guidance on them as well. And then really excitingly, we're going to have our new 6135C on the tour. I know a couple of folks from your organization were able to see that as well down at our meeting, and that's a product we're really, really excited for in that 135 horse range. It's got that house-built TTV I was talking about earlier with the one that the 140 unit today has, but uniquely we're launching a 20-speed bump power shift on that tractor. So they'll be the only company in the segment that's got a full power shift in at that horsepower. And it's just a tractor we're tremendously excited for, that we think it's going to do really well in the market. And it's really going to be a strong tractor in this market as well.
Cool. So you'll have several different stops. And so like at our field day, we'll have customers come. They'll be able to drive tractors. And so those of you listening, if you want to get your feet wet, we need to get you registered for the Roadshow Field Day event. That we're going to have on the 21st of July. Yeah. And it'll be a great time to come out. Mike will be there, and Andrew will likely be there, and we can just get your feet wet on a Deutz.
Yeah,
get on that
absolutely.
thing, drive it, figure out what the heck it's about, and maybe it could be a really good Swiss Army knife for your farm to just help with whether it's efficiency in doing chores, or maybe you're just ready to upgrade tractors.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time. You now have a local dealer that can support with a product like that. So very excited about the road show, and a little over a month away.
Yeah, it's kind of coming up on us quite quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to it as well. And I did want to say to the earlier point about talking about dealer manufacturer partnerships, that's definitely a two-way street. And you give me quite a hard time a few different times about being fairly relentless, because I have been talking to you, Adam, for at least 3 years, I would say.
Probably.
And, every farm show, I think you see me coming, you go, okay, here we go again. And there's a reason that I was that relentless on that, and that's we look for dealer partners who do exactly what it is you guys do. There's nothing you guys do. 90%, everything you guys do is 100%. And I have no doubt there's been a lot of manufacturers through this door trying to do business with, a company like Pfennig Equipment, and you guys stay very in your lane doing, providing products from good companies that are well supported, and you're very picky on your products. And it's flattering to us that a dealership of your quality sees us to fit into that same realm, and that's really where the difference is. There's a lot of companies that make a very good tractor. I mean, when you start talking about tractors that get to be in the hundreds of thousands and $200,000-$300,000 tractors, there's not a lot of terrible ones made on the market when you're paying that kind of money for that. And what it really comes down to is the experience a dealer can provide, from service, parts, support, knowledge, all of that kind of stuff. And that's something we're incredibly confident that Pfennig will deliver to the market. And I know that that's something that you guys have been very clear that, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it 100% right. And I think that's something that your customers are going to get a big benefit out of.
Yeah. Well, we're pumped up about it. And we, like I said earlier, every product has got its challenges, and it's all about how you can react to it. And we try to provide serious and superior products that really allow a farmer to push his farm forward. And we try really hard to be out there knocking on doors, out there doing service calls, and we're not afraid to fire up the service truck. If a guy calls, we're heading that way.
Yeah,
and that's what we're about.
Yeah, we really pride ourselves on the service side of things, and I think that's where we can really deliver to a customer in our minds. It's
the harder thing to do, it seems, but it makes everyone's life so much easier, honestly. I mean, the farmer's happier. We're happier going home at the end of the day knowing that if a problem isn't taken care of, we're working on it and we're finding the solutions. Yeah. And so that's what we're after. And I'm excited about it. So
yeah, I mean, it'll be kind of like the whole applicator deal for us all over again. Yeah,
there was a point in time when we didn't really know applicators at all. I remember the very first applicator, one of the very first ones we ever sold. Dad made me deliver it, and he says, "Yep, just take it over here." And okay, so I pull in, and the farmer says, "Well, where's my orifices at for my rate?" I said, I don't know what an orifice is. He's like, "Well, you better go check on it and get back with me." And I said, "Dad, he said something about an orifice." And Dad said, "I don't know, I'll have to make some phone calls to figure out what that is." And today it's like one of the most important parts on the applicator. And we've grown to know that, and we've grown. And so we find what we want and we specialize in it. That's what we're going to do. So that's what I've got. You guys have got some things to do yet today, I'm sure, and everyone's got things to do. So we want to keep this rolling. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Mike, we appreciate your time. Andrew, we really appreciate you guys coming up. And this won't be the last one, so don't think, "Oh, we got that over with."
No, we just didn't know this morning when we woke up we were going to be on a podcast today.
Well, hey.
I think we did all right.
It's my, so we were talking about last night in the shop, and I said, "Dad, what time are they coming?" "Well, this time." And I said, well, how late they staying? I don't know. I said, well, I'm going to do a podcast with them. He said, well, do they know that? I said, nope. So just you pretty well just count on it, because it's always fun. We enjoy doing it, and I think farmers love listening to it, and try to provide some useful knowledge in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and thank you guys for your time today.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm.